About Kathy, you know from the beginning when she became governor, she made public safety her top priority. She didn't just say that the men and women who protect us deserve our highest support, but she really put the entire strength and office behind her words. She led the initiatives to pass stricter laws when it comes to red flag laws, as well as other laws that hopefully have made your jobs a little easier. She put significant funding for all your departments, increased technology investments, and frankly put more police officers and in some cases National Guard support available to each and every one of your departments. So when I say that I'm very proud of my wife for supporting all of you, I mean it, both as a personal matter, again, for our son and my prior career, but also for all of you. And with that, I would like to introduce the 57th governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you could come, and it's a beautiful day. Walk around and enjoy this home that we're just about to launch the celebration of 150 years of governors residing here. And I'm always cognizant of the fact that people like Teddy Roosevelt once lived here, a person well familiar with law enforcement from his days in New York City, and Franklin Roosevelt, who literally was the governor living in this home when the Great Depression hit. The crash of 29. He was not president, he was governor and had to deal with the fallout of that. So when I think we have a lot of challenges, I often hearken back to my predecessors who resided here and realize that the incomparable spirit of New Yorkers is very much alive. We can get through anything. I want to recognize the fact that we have many elected officials in this room who wanted to pay tribute and came from near and far. We have district attorneys, and I want to thank the district attorneys who teamed up with me to make significant changes to our discovery laws this past year. I do believe there'll be far more cases that'll end up being adjudicated as opposed to just prosecuted then dismissed, which is enormously frustrating for those who put in all the work, the groundwork, especially our law enforcement community, who just see their work evaporate in a courtroom. That should not be happening anywhere to the scale it was before, and that's important to me. We have sheriffs here. I've met many of you as I travel the state, go to your communities, convene meetings with our police commissioners, our sheriffs. I was just in Onondaga doing this a couple of days ago to talk about more resources going there as I go to many parts of the state, so I want to thank them. We also have a few members of our judicial community, Justices Gerald Whalen. I want to recognize him, a fellow New Yorker, Western New Yorker, and therefore a Buffalo Bills fan. Go Bills, go Bills. I presume when you're in this house, you know you're all Bills fans, right? And also Elizabeth Gary from the bench. I want to thank you for joining us as well. Members of my cabinet have joined us as well. We also have the superintendent of the state police, Stephen James. I want to give him a special shout out for all the weight that he has carried. I have redefined the role of state police beyond anyone's expectations. As I said, yeah, we need to keep you doing your bread and butter work, but I need you to be on the front line interdicting guns coming across the borders from other states. We have the first in the nation collaboration between us and 11 other states now, and he leads so many of these efforts, as well as dealing with whatever, the threat assessment that I get every week on what is happening. So I want to thank him particularly. And also, we also have Sabrina Breyer, who is the new Deputy Secretary for Public Safety. You want to get to know Sabrina well. Where's Sabrina? Sabrina, say hi to everybody. And our DCJS Deputy Commissioner, Joe Popkin, he'll be hearing from shortly. But also, as we think about the challenges that you go into every day, I want to just take a moment to recognize we lost one of our own state police members. Sergeant Nigel Barnett was killed this past week, and we mourn his tenure, and his loss to his family must be extraordinary. So again, there's this sense of joy in gathering here to celebrate the work that's done, but also let's reflect on those who go do their jobs and do not come home at the end of the day. And so that's a tough one for our law enforcement community here. And as I'm speaking about the state police, I do want to recognize sort of the unsung heroes of my life, which are the state police detail, whose lives are turned upside down in a moment when they have to adjust and cancel their plans and have to go wherever I go, and especially in this environment of higher threats on public officials. We saw what happened with the assassination of Charlie Kirk this past week, and know that there's a vulnerability to everyone who is a high-profile individual. So my detail has a lot of work, and I never worry about it, nor does my husband. We have great confidence. But lastly, I do want to acknowledge the service of my husband. I could not tell you, as a spouse, there were stressful times. There were times when he brought high-profile cases against terrorists. The first terrorism case brought after 9/11 was actually in Western New York. We had the Lackawanna 6, Al-Qaeda. If you remember that he was the lead prosecutor. He also went after some notorious drug gangs that were terrorizing our city, and worked closely with the violence disruptors in our community, and showed me how important those investments in their work was, because they're the trusted individuals on the ground. So I learned so much of my knowledge of law enforcement. Much of it does come through seeing him engage in the community and do what he did with such pride, and I want to thank him for his service to our state and our nation for many, many years as well. I mentioned we're seeing an uptick in violence, a lot of threats out there, and that's why one of the reasons I wanted to invest in our crime analysis centers. We have centers all over the state that are available to all of you in law enforcement. I hope you understand that we're continuing training and making sure you know how we're working hard to connect the dots. I mean, this is something we talked about after 9/11. How do you connect the dots? It's now connected to everything we do in public safety, but you need data, and sometimes we have data that needs to be shared with you and vice versa. And I think we've done a much better job over my 4 years as governor of letting you know that we view this as one state. All of us were dedicated to public safety, protecting the public, and sometimes sharing information can lead to leads that'll help solve a crime, or even in the effort of preventing crimes. So as I think about those who stand up and are willing to put on a uniform and go through the rigors of training and to go what it takes and to put themselves out literally on the line of fire. We'll talk about a couple of individuals who are in the line of fire. For families, again, I'm going to give a special shout out to families. I know the sacrifice, the fear that starts off when you get something, you hear something on a radio and you haven't seen your spouse in a few hours and you're not sure whether they're in the middle of a horrific, shootout or something horrible happening, and there's that sense of uncertainty and anxiety that just permeates your lives all the time for yourselves and your children. But I hope there's also a very high element of pride to know that anyone can step up and do this. You can apply, you can go to the academy and get trained, but so few do. This is what I'm so in awe of when I think about the individuals who have vast career opportunities ahead of them. But something in either their upbringing, from parents who instilled in them this sense that we must think of others beyond ourselves and how I can contribute to making a community I love safer and better. And so I'm constantly in admiration of those who are willing to do what you do. And just that is from the heart. And I know that I have 20 million people who are not here today, but they're represented through my voice, who are grateful that you are willing to do that. And so there are times when you feel unappreciated. You'll never hear words like defund the police come out of these lips. In fact, we've actually funded at levels approaching $3 billion, which is an extraordinary level. But that is technology grants, and I've seen them on display from stopping by law enforcement up in the North Country. I was just in Plattsburgh. I'm covering the state. I'm coming to see the operation of the drones and the technology, the license plate readers, and all these things that we are making available to you through technology grants that were never there before. So it's that kind of investment, but also the recognition of what you're doing that just, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to continue. We never say mission accomplished, but if you look at the crime statistics across our state, from Long Island to New York City to the Hudson Valley, heading north, then also across the Erie Canal communities all the way to Buffalo, the numbers are extraordinary. And when I first became governor 4 years ago, we were on a terrible trajectory. The crime, the murders, the shootings, the assaults, the car thefts were out of control. And I sit down with my team, and they're the smartest people you'll ever find, get together, like, how are we going to solve this? And what can I do? And I go into communities and bring together, again, all the principals from the U.S. attorney on down to local law enforcement and say, this is not sustainable. We're not going to let this continue. And what are we going to do about it? So what do you need? And I'll send in state police. I've had state police walk the streets of many communities because they needed extra help. That's how granular I want to be to provide the assistance you need, and we'll always continue to do that. So on behalf of 20 million people who know that we're going to keep funding you, keep honoring you, keep supporting you, I want to make sure that that voice is clear across the entire state. But as I was talking about the people willing to put themselves in harm's way, it does take a special kind of courage and sense of duty. And I've met two gentlemen this morning who recently lived through this. I want to describe two incidents that Sergeant Richard Albert and Cortland County Sheriff's Office Captain Anthony Phelps both faced gunfire in the line of duty. And let me just describe, Sergeant Albert was at a traffic stop in Schenectady County, and Captain Phelps was at a home in Cortland. And both men exhibited, and again, I know enough about people in law enforcement, they never want to be called a hero. They never do. They just say, I'm just doing the job. I hear that over and over. But to us, it's not just doing a job, it is extraordinary. And they exhibited tremendous bravery, making split-second decisions that saved their own lives and those around them. And in a few moments, I'm glad you could all witness this, we'll be officially honoring and recognizing them with the Governor's Police Officer of the Year awards. And we'll also award the State Police Officer Medal of Valor for their actions in the face of incredible danger. So I have seen the dash cam video from Sergeant Albert's traffic stop, the moment when the windows roll down and the barrel of a gun appears and shot rings out. And it's a stark reminder of how quickly something that seems so routine, so ordinary, can escalate into a situation that you trained for, but hope that never happens. And when you're a police officer, the danger lurks around every corner. You understand that risk, and yet you just continue on. That's what's so amazing. And I know it takes an emotional toll, though, and I think that's something we need to talk more about. And I want to thank people who have come forward and brought to us the recognition that, suicide rates among law enforcement are almost higher than any other group. The emotional stress that they carry internally, because society has created this label that these are strong people, they're tough, and they have to never show weakness. But I don't call it weakness, I call it showing your humanity, that you're a human being. And we are now going to be rethinking about how we can support people. And you may not even know that it's having an effect, but if you have an opportunity to talk to someone without fear that that could someday be used against you in a disciplinary situation, or that it could be used as, oh, they needed help, therefore we better give them desk duty. I don't want that to be the environment. I want there to be a lack of a stigma. I want there to be the support that you need, and also the recognition, like, you can do your job better if you have a chance to talk to professionals without fear. Talk to professionals and get on a path to understanding what you're doing and feeling is completely normal and will get you in a better place. And you'll be able to do your job with clearer mental acuity and stronger mental health. So that's my commitment right now. We can put dollars behind everything, but I also want to work hard. So thank you. Thank you. So as I've said before, you've had to do a lot. You've had to deal with a lot of adversity, a lot of people that are a very small minority who have denigrated our law enforcement, but they have to get through me first. And I'll stand at the forefront of saying, no, we are so fortunate to have people who've dedicated their lives to this profession. And without it, and I've said this at many state police graduations, I try not to miss any. I've been to, seems like dozens. I try to make sure I'm at every one of the police officer memorials. But I always say this, society will descend into chaos without you. It is that simple in my mind. We descend into chaos. You are the vanguard against that. And other countries don't have what we have right here. And I'm proud of that. We're going to continue that. So we're going to continue the money coming. I can give you a whole list of all the money. You don't need to read it all to you, but hopefully you're feeling the effects. But as a result, you are delivering results. With the resources we're giving you, you are delivering the results that I'm looking for. And I just look at the fact that the number of murders statewide were down 30%, a 25-year low. That's extraordinary. And our subways, those of you who are from the New York City region. It's all about subway safety. We had the safest July and August in recorded history. And I know those of you who read the New York Post are going to see a horrible story. Don't look at the pictures of me on the cover. Luckily, I have thick skin like all of you. It doesn't bother me. I say, bring it on, okay? But there's going to be another horrific incident that's going to be blasted in the papers, and it's going to recreate that deep sense of fear. And people feel that even if you live on Long Island or in the Hudson Valley or elsewhere in the state, because you think that could happen to you or your family. I do not want that fear to be permeating your lives, because we have made great progress. And it's hard for me to tell people that I have all the statistics that say you are so much safer than you were before, and yet there's an image that is just chilling. So that's what I'm trying to counter here, because I want New Yorkers to be rest assured that, yes, there are threats out there, but you have a very tiny chance of having you be the victim, but it's just a challenge that we face. But it's all happening because of the people on the ground, and that's what today is all about. It's about the people on the ground here. And because of you, we enjoy the rest of the peace of mind. We feel more comfortable about where we are, and feel safer overall. So with that, I want to bring up our award recipients and bring up Department of Joe Popcom, our Division of Criminal Justice Services Deputy Commissioner, because we're here to honor all of you and talk about the challenges that you've been through, and make sure that you know we'll have your back because you have ours. Thank you very much, everyone.
Officer of the Year recipient, Technical Sergeant Richard Alberts. Technical Sergeant Albert is accompanied by his wife, Kelly, and Superintendent Stephen James.
People of the state of New York, thereby upholding the highest traditions of law enforcement.